Hello students, today we discuss the topic machines. We use a number of machines in our day-to-day life. It is for our convenience. It is to save time. So many machines are used to overcome a large resistive force by applying a less effort. So some of the functions of the machines are: it is used to lift a heavy load by applying less effort. Means machines act as a force multiplier. One of the examples is jack. So jack is an example of a machine which acts as a force multiplier. Some of the machines are used to change the direction of effort to a convenient direction. Example is a single fixed pulley. By using a single fixed pulley, a heavy load can be lifted upward by applying the effort downward. Then some of the machines are used to gain in speed. Example is gear system. So these are all some of the functions of machines. There are many more functions of the machine. Now we see some of the terms related with a machine. So the first term is load. The resistive force which is to be overcome by a machine is called load. Suppose that you have to cut a paper by using a scissor. So here paper is the resistive force, or paper is the load. If you have to cut some vegetables by using a knife, so here vegetable is the load and knife is the machine which is used for it. Then effort. Effort is the force which is used to, which is applied on the machine to overcome the load. Then fulcrum. The turning point of a machine is called its fulcrum. For example, we cut this paper by using a scissor. So here scissor is the machine, simple machine. So this paper is to be cut. This is the load. This is the resistive force which is to be overcome. So this paper is the load. So I apply a force on the machine at this point. So I apply a force. The force which is applied on the machine to overcome the load. This is called effort. So I apply the effort here. Here I apply the effort. And the load is kept here. And here you can see a turning point. This turning point is called fulcrum. So these are the three terms: load, fulcrum and effort. Load is the resistive force which is to be overcome. Effort is the force which is applied on the machine to overcome the load. And turning point is called fulcrum. The distance from fulcrum to load is called load arm. And the distance from fulcrum to effort is called effort arm. Now we see some more terms related with a machine. Mechanical advantage. So mechanical advantage is the ratio of load and effort. So mechanical advantage is the ratio of load and effort. So load and effort have same units. So numerator and denominator have same units. If it is SI unit of load is Newton and SI unit of effort is also Newton. Means numerator and denominator have same units. They are cancelled by each other. So mechanical advantage has no unit. It is a pure ratio. And if a load is greater than effort, mechanical advantage is more than 1. And if load and effort are equal, then mechanical advantage is equal to 1. And if load is less than effort, then mechanical advantage is less. If load is less than effort, then mechanical advantage is less than 1. Okay, these are 3 cases. Now the next term is velocity ratio. So velocity ratio is the ratio of velocity of effort to velocity of load. Or it is also equal to displacement of effort to displacement of load. So here also in this case also numerator and denominator have same units. So they are cancelled by each other. So velocity ratio has no unit. Mechanical advantage has no unit. Velocity ratio also has no unit. Now the next term is work input. So work input means work done on the machine. Work done on the machine is called work input. Work input means it is the work done on the machine. That is called work input. So which is equal to product of effort and displacement of effort. Work input is equal to effort into displacement of effort. Then work output. So work output is the work done by the machine. Work output means it is the work done by the machine. So which is the product of load and displacement of load. The work output is equal to load into displacement of load. Then efficiency. So efficiency is the ratio of work output to the work input. Now we see the principle of machine. So no machine will work by itself. First, some energy is to be given to the machine. Means that is called the energy which is given to the machine, that is called input energy. Then machine will do the useful work. So first input energy, work is input to the machine, then machine will do the work. So in the case of machine, first no machine will work by itself. So first energy is provided to the machine, which is called input energy. Then machine will do the work. So this principle of machine is the ideal case. The input energy is equal to output energy. So that is the principle of machine. So a machine whose input energy is equal to output energy, that is called an ideal machine. So ideal machine is a machine in which output energy is equal to input energy. But no machine is ideal. Then what is an actual machine or practical machine? Actual machine or practical machine is a machine whose output energy is less than input energy. So output energy is less than input energy because of these reasons. Machine's parts are not weightless, the springs are not perfectly elastic, and some of the energy which is provided to the machine, that is used to overcome the frictional force. If a machine is 80% efficient, if a machine is 80% efficient, it means that 80% of the input energy we get it as the useful energy. 80% of the energy which is provided to the machine is converted as useful energy, and 20% of the energy is wasted to overcome the frictional force. This is the meaning of this statement. Now we will see the relationship between efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. So efficiency is equal to work output upon work input. Efficiency is equal to work output upon work input. So work output is equal to load into displacement of load, and work input is equal to effort into displacement of effort. So this one can be written like this: load upon effort into dl by d. So which can be written as load by effort into 1 upon d by dl. 1 upon d by dl is same as dl upon d. Now instead of load upon effort, we can write mechanical advantage. The mechanical advantage is the ratio of load and effort into 1 upon d by dl. The ratio of displacement of effort to displacement of load is called the velocity ratio. So this is a relationship. So efficiency is equal to mechanical advantage upon velocity ratio. So this is a relation between efficiency, mechanical advantage and velocity ratio. In the case of an ideal machine, efficiency is 100%. So in case of ideal machine, since the efficiency is 100%, mechanical advantage is equal to velocity ratio. In the case of an actual machine or practical machine whose efficiency is less than 100%. So in that case, mechanical advantage is less than velocity ratio. Now we see lever. Lever is a rigid, straight or bent bar which is capable of turning about a point, which is called its fulcrum. Once the famous scientist Archimedes said, "Give me a strong rigid rod and give me some space to stand, then I can turn this earth upside down." From his statement you can understand the power and importance of lever. Now we see the principle of lever. The principle of lever is principle of moment. So principle of lever is principle of moment. According to this, the clockwise moment of load about fulcrum is equal to anti-clockwise moment of effort about fulcrum. When we calculate the clockwise moment and anti-clockwise moment, so clockwise moment of load about fulcrum. So you may be remembering the formula to calculate the moment of force. When we apply it, we will get clockwise moment of load about fulcrum, that is equal to load into load arm. And when we calculate the anti-clockwise moment of effort about fulcrum, we will get it as effort into effort arm. So this one can be written like this: load upon effort is equal to effort arm upon load arm. When you cross multiply, you get the same. The ratio load and effort is called mechanical advantage. So mechanical advantage of a lever is equal to effort arm upon load arm. This principle of lever is very important. Load into load arm is equal to effort into effort arm, and mechanical advantage of lever is equal to effort arm upon load arm. If the effort arm is longer than the load arm, mechanical advantage of lever is more than 1. If effort arm is equal to load arm, then mechanical advantage of lever is equal to 1. And if effort arm is shorter than the load arm, then mechanical advantage of lever is less than 1. Depends upon the position of fulcrum, load and effort, the levers are classified into 3 types: class 1, class 2 and class 3. In case of class 1 lever, fulcrum comes in between load and effort. This is the simplified diagram of a class 1 lever. Fulcrum. So if you have to draw a simple diagram of a lever, then you have to draw a straight line and then mark the position of fulcrum, load and effort. In class 1 lever, fulcrum comes between load and effort. Now see the next one diagram, class 2 lever. So in class 2 lever, the load comes in between fulcrum and effort. So in this case, the distance from fulcrum to load is called load arm, and the distance from fulcrum to effort is called effort arm. So you can see that effort arm is longer than the load arm. So its mechanical advantage is always more than 1. The lever whose mechanical advantage is more than 1 acts as a force multiplier. So this is a simple diagram of a class 2 lever. Now come to the next case. Class 3 lever. In class 3 lever, effort comes between fulcrum and load. So this is a simplified diagram of a class 3 lever. The distance between fulcrum and effort is called effort arm. Distance from fulcrum to load is called the load arm. So in this diagram you can see effort arm is shorter than load arm. So mechanical advantage is less than 1. The lever whose mechanical advantage is less than 1 acts as a speed multiplier. Now we will see examples of this class 1, class 2 and class 3 levers. So first one is class 1 lever. You can see this diagram. Plier. The position of load, fulcrum and effort are marked. The diagram, everything is marked. Fulcrum, this fulcrum comes in between load and effort. All these 3 positions are marked in the diagram. So you can see fulcrum comes in between the load and effort. Load, effort and their directions are also marked in the diagram. So fulcrum comes in between. And here in case of class 1 lever, the mechanical advantage can be equal to 1, less than 1 and more than 1. So here you can see effort arm. Effort arm is longer than the load arm. So this is an example of a class 1 lever whose mechanical advantage is more than 1. Now take the case of this seesaw. So this is fulcrum, load and effort. Fulcrum, load and effort are marked and their directions are also marked. So this is a seesaw is an example of a class 1 lever whose mechanical advantage is equal to 1. And so in all these diagrams you can see that fulcrum is in between the load and effort. If you see any diagrams, you can see fulcrum comes in between load and effort. And this scissor, in scissor also you can see this. So in this case, effort arm is shorter than the load arm. So scissor is an example of a class 1 lever whose mechanical advantage is less than 1. Only in the case of class 1 lever, mechanical advantage can be less than 1, equal to 1 or more than 1. And these are all examples of class 1 lever. Now the next type of lever is class 2 lever. So some diagrams are given. Nutcracker, bottle opener, wheelbarrow, a bar to lift a load. In all these diagrams, fulcrum, load and effort are marked, and the direction of load and effort are also shown. In all these diagrams, you can see that load comes in between. And in the case of class 2 lever, the effort arm is the distance from fulcrum to effort. Effort arm is always more than the load arm. So in case of class 2 lever, the mechanical advantage is always more than 1, as the effort arm is longer than the load arm. So class 2 lever act as a force multiplier. Now the next type of lever is class 3 lever. So in this, these are some of the examples of class 3 lever. Foot treadle, sugar tongs, knife, spade lifting a load. These are all examples of class 3 lever. And in this case you can see that the effort comes in between fulcrum and load. And in this case, effort arm is shorter than the load arm. Since the effort arm is shorter than the load arm, class 3 lever has mechanical advantage always less than 1. So it acts as a speed multiplier. So we have seen different classes of levers. Okay students, next class we will see with another topic.